momentsofclarity.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclarity.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Warner.
Hey, and welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. I'm Tiffany Warner, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. My guest today is inspirational. He's changed his life since he injured himself years ago and got addicted to opiates, but prescribed by a doctor, and it pretty much has turned his life upside down. But right side up, he also has become a outreach coordinator for a nearby treatment facility. We're going to talk about that too, and also speaks to youth and goes to high schools and really has a passion for helping people through addiction and through recovery. And it's changed his life. And I want to welcome back to Moments of Clarity, Stephen Sundquist.
Thank you.
And I think, you're probably the perfect person to go speak at high schools. You're not too old. You are well spoken. You've been an athlete. People would probably just look up to you. The kids would. And
I feel like that's something that helps have the kids relate, because in my experience, when Dare came to my school, I wasn't paying attention. I was not ever thinking that would apply to my life. So I think having shared an experience that I lived through high school, similar to what I did, allows the students to relate with it and take from it what they want, and just having that common relation with something, it's huge.
Yeah, and and how common is that? It's not like you picked up a pill and said, I'm going to become an addict one day. It was more like getting yourself through something that mattered to you.
Yeah, I never thought to myself, at the age of 16, I can't wait to become a heroin addict after taking this first pain pill. And it just happened, and I think it's common with a lot of athletes, because you start building a tolerance to these pills and they stop working, and you're left to go to the cheaper alternative, which is heroin.
Mm-hmm. Right, or the more street accessible, right. Especially when doctors start catching on that you're trying to keep getting it filled, right, or whatever. We do have a caller. We have a caller, Pamela, and thank you for calling in to Moments of Clarity.
Hi. I wanted to join the discussion. So
yeah, thank you.
This is not an easy thing to talk about. I'm a senior, and I've just been diagnosed with the first stages of Alzheimer's, but I want to go back. When I was in college, I got into the cocaine, and just a few times, and in the heroin, I don't know, maybe it was mixed with it, but I straightened up on my own through. I prayed, but I really wasn't a Christian. But somehow I got strength. I guess my mother and my uncle and all, they were helping me. They got me interested in the water. We lived in Panama City, Florida, on a boat, and scuba diving, in ceramics, trying to build myself back up.
Mm-hmm.
But so then when I married a military guy, and I had 2 kids, he left, and then after 18 years, and then I found myself homeless. And so when I was homeless in Atlanta, this was why we were fighting in the divorce decree. I found myself in a shelters in Atlanta, and I noticed one of the girls said, I got into mental health problem, what do you call that, mental health category or the group, and I want out. It's a nightmare. So from that, it makes you afraid to mention it, because you don't want to get into, there's so much negativity that you can be labeled with, and there's so many people that can do harm to you. It's so difficult to find the right people.
Pamela?
25 years. And
wait, what did you just say? The phone cut out. What did you just say? Something about the 25 years.
Yeah, now I'm 65. Okay, and all that happened back at 40. All right, so now I've got a choice. I can see psychiatrist or neurologist with this Alzheimer's, and I'm I'm afraid of the psychiatrist because of my, like I just mentioned it. So I want to stay with a neurologist because they're safer. But anyway, that's my dilemma.
Oh, okay. So
the insurance will pay for psychiatrists, but it will not pay for neurology. So that's the problem.
Yeah, it sounds like
you don't want to
having a stigma here that you're getting afraid of because of what somebody mentioned. But honestly, having the mental health diagnosis is going to open up so many more doors for you. And it's not going to hurt
not
you.
Really for me, because let me tell you, I'm drug free. I don't do drugs. I can't take them, even if I wanted. They tried to I have a heart disease, and they tried to put me on Coreg, and that took me. I wound up in the hospital. I had an aunt that died from medicine. I can't take, anything. And so with the psychiatrist, I'm afraid they're going to do medication.
But it's up to you if you don't want to take it. And also with they can refer you to a therapist, and then a therapist can really help you with the first stages of Alzheimer's, coping with it, because that's a big deal to get diagnosed with that too, and what's ahead and things like that, and do memory techniques and strengthening the mind and really helping you go through that transition.
Okay, well, thank you for your advice. You're kind of helping me. I like your program.
Thank you so much.
And you're a good interviewer.
Good luck to you, Pamela.
And God bless the guy for giving us testimony.
Thank you, Pamela. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good luck, Pamela.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. But that's the stigma. That's the stigma that we have. And I'm so glad that she called and shared that, because that's where a lot of people go wrong. And that's the whole point of the show, too, is to educate that there's not anything to be afraid of. And she was a first-time caller. I really appreciate her calling in and sharing that.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to addiction has no social or economic boundaries. Anybody can be affected by it, no matter what. It doesn't just affect the homeless person under the bridge. It doesn't affect the student athlete, the guy that has the good corporate job. It literally can touch any life at any time.
Right, addiction and mental health as well.
Right, absolutely.
Stress, depression. I mean, just like what Pamela just said about getting diagnosed with the first stages of Alzheimer's. Nobody wants that.
Right. I saw a recent study on, mental health in the workplace, and I think it's like 54% people in the workplace don't mention anything about how they're feeling and have some type of mental health diagnosis. And it's just crazy. I think more workplaces need to, offer mental health options for treatment or counseling or something, and partner up with the EAPs and whatnot.
I'm a provider on a lot of EAPs.
That's awesome.
And it's pretty funny because I've talked about this on the show before, is that you go in for a job interview, right? And there's human resources, and they're sitting there going, we have health benefits, dental, vision, all this stuff. But then they're afraid to say, and mental health, employee assistance programs. And it's like they're afraid to, because of the stigma, sit there and say, because if I said, hey, and by the way, Stephen, we have mental health programs, you'd be like, why? Do I look like I need one? But none of us are sitting there going, well, what's wrong with my teeth? Why do you offer dental or vision? Or like, do I look? I don't know. But so we got to get rid of that stigma, where people can just reach their fullest potential, be as successful in life as they want to be, not have any crutches or barriers holding them back,
Absolutely.
And not only that, but feel free from anything like that. And like that they can believe in themselves. They can feel comfortable in their own skin. They can feel like they can accomplish the world without alcohol or drugs or any of that.
Yeah, and I think that goes into my next topic. The opposite of addiction is connection. I truly believe the opposite of addiction is having a human connection, because humans have a natural need to bond with each other. And whenever we're faced with something traumatic or painful, we go to the substance or whatever it is to fill that void within our soul, or to make us feel better. In my case, it was opiates. And, over a period of time of my life, taking these pills to make myself feel better, my routine consisted of me going to work, meeting a drug dealer, going home, and isolating. And over a period of time, depression set in for me. And I was literally watching people live their lives on social media, wishing that I had that.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah, never being able to be vulnerable with another person or open up and say, hey, listen, I need help. I'm not okay.
I got to tell you that you know how easy it is for that, especially if you were 15 or 16, your parents are giving you the pills and telling you, you know, here, take it or whatever.
Right.
But like, I have a lucky curse, I guess. I'm allergic to codeine.
Wow.
And so
you're lucky.
I guess. But yeah, it was painful when I got in a car accident.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, instead of feeling like pain relief, I mean, it kind of made me pain relief, but I felt nauseous. I threw up all day, like, you know. So, but if I wasn't like that, I could have been, you know, in your program, you know. Just like that, it's that easy.
Absolutely.
It can happen to anyone.
Yeah, like I said before, you know, it was an innocent decision where I developed a chemical dependency to it, you know, not even knowing what I was getting myself into, really.
And you saw a bigger goal ahead. You'd rather take that and be successful than feel like less than.
Right, exactly.
I think that's why a lot of people turn to steroids and stuff, too.
Yeah. It's you know, people are always trying to, they're suffering from body image or feeling less than. And I think that's what ego is to me. It's less than or greater than. In my case, I always felt less than. I felt like I wasn't good enough. So I was constantly doing things to improve myself or whatever, or my appearance, because I thought that's how that made me accepted by others.
Mm-hmm. And it makes you feel good within yourself, too. But at the same time,
right.
You know, if you're doing it in a way that's, you know, fictitious, or,
right.
you know, if you're faking it, then it doesn't feel good at the end of the day,
no,
you know,
not
because it doesn't feel genuine.
I think the one thing about my sobriety is it's the first thing in my life that I completely did honestly and thoroughly without taking a shortcut. You know, all my life, you know, I was the kid that was cheating on tests in high school. I was skipping laps in baseball practice, like around the track.
Shame on you.
Yeah, like there was nothing that I truly set out forth and did completing honest and thoroughly until it came to getting sober. And I think that's why I hold myself to a high standard with everything I put my mind to, because I know I can do it now.
Yeah. Yeah, without the help.
Right.
Callers call in, 866-826-1340. 866-826-1340. Welcome to call in. We appreciate joining the discussion. If I can say that. Join the discussion, 866-826-1340. And I think that this is really hitting home to a lot of people right now, you know, that those are in recovery, those that are trying to maintain maintenance of recovery, relapse prevention, and or contemplating, you know, if they're in the pre-contemplation stages of change, contemplating if they are ready to take on that challenge.
Right. And speaking on that, for me, there was never, if anybody out there is listening that thinks they may want to get help or they may be able to benefit from it, for me, there was never a time in my life where all the stars were aligned and everything was saying, okay, you're ready to go to treatment. This is the day. It never happened like that. Unfortunately, I had the overdose situation where I was kind of forced into going to treatment. Thank God, because I'm still here today.
Yeah, you overdosed twice in 24 hours?
Yep.
How did that happen?
So the only thing I can remember is that I did them while driving, and I nodded out at the wheel. By the grace of God, I went through an intersection, did not hit one car, and I went into a bush. The paramedics got called out there, and they bashed out the back window of my car, and they pulled me out and administered 4 doses of Narcan. And I did not remember anything until I woke up in the hospital, and I didn't have my wallet, my phone, my keys. I didn't even have shoes on for some reason. I was very confused, very out of it, had no idea what was going on. And I remember I kept seeing this nurse go back and forth outside of my room. I literally thought I was like kidnapped for a second. It was the craziest, most wildest experience that I've been through. So finally I came back to a little bit, and I called my roommate at the time, and I said, hey, I don't know what happened. I think I got in a car accident, because I literally had no idea what just happened until the nurse came in and told me, well, honey, you overdosed. You're lucky to be alive. And it hit me. I'm like, wow, like I never once thought that I would be in this situation. I always thought I was invincible, you know, throughout my drug use. But it can happen to anybody at any time.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't realize that they can overdose, or that how easy it is to do that.
Right. Yeah, it happens when you least expect it. You know, people think they're invincible throughout their addictions, but it'll catch you. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Mm-hmm. So my roommate comes and picks me up, and he brings me back to the house, and I still don't think he knew what was going on at the moment. So he dropped me back off at the house, and I said, I don't know, I got to figure out where my car